Okay, it's time to take a look at the 53-man roster projections as cuts are going to start happening. We're going to get down to our team and find out. We got a couple surprises. I think Chase Cota out, and we'll get to that in just a second. A couple other surprises in there that when you really look at it, kind of makes sense, but on the surface, it's like, wait a second. But before we get into that, we've been having a lot of fun asking you guys questions before we start the videos. Last time, a couple of videos ago, we asked if you ever met a Detroit Lions player in person, like kind of out and about. A lot of good answers on that. In the comments, people run into them at the gym, doing like plumbing work for them, stuff like that. And another one was last time you went to the Silver Dome, what that experience was like. And somebody wrote, and I'll read it. When my mom died when I was 7, and this is from Matt Verville 92227. When my mom died when I was 7, my teacher asked me if I could do anything in the world with my dad, what would it be? I told her without thinking much, it would be to go to a Lions game. She bought us tickets to the Lions versus Jags in 1995. We won 44-0, if I remember correctly. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing. And it's cool because that's the thing about being a fan, especially in the NFL. I mean, it's so deep. Roots run deep. It's not just like watching them on TV. You got different experiences, different things that you remember. So that's why we love it. Detroit Lions fans especially. So in this video, let me know who is your favorite Detroit Lions player of all time without the obvious, without Barry Sanders. Can't say Chris Spielman. Can't say Herman Moore. Give me somebody a little sneaky that you're like, man, I love this guy. I love when he was here. Underrated. Didn't get enough attention like you should have. Let me know in the comments if it's a good one. We'll read it. Okay, 53-man roster projections. Let's take a look at it. Here we go. Couple surprises. We'll highlight it as we go. The obvious ones we'll skip through. So hang with me here. Jared Goff, Teddy Bridgewater. Just obvious. We brought in Teddy Bridgewater to be our guy at the backup quarterback position. Running back. Man, Jahmyr Gibbs. The more I see this guy, the more I read about him. He is the truth. I mean, Brad Holmes does it again. Nobody had Jahmyr Gibbs really in the first round. You're not really paying attention. Bijan Robinson, whatever. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be really good. I can't wait to see him. But Craig Reynolds gets the nod as the third running back. The other guys just haven't done enough. Fine. No problem there. Okay. Wide receiver, and this is where it gets really interesting. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Reynolds, Raymond, Jones, we all know. And then there's a battle between the three rookies, Drummond, Green, and Cota. And this is from Pride of Detroit. And I agree with Pride of Detroit because initially it's like, Cota, what up? I love this guy. But when you dig deeper into Drummond and Cota, there's a couple things. It's if Tom Kennedy has taught us anything about wide receivers preseasons, it's that special teams contributions matter more than stats. Remember the last 2 preseasons, Tom Kennedy tearing it up, catching balls wide open, but he didn't contribute much at all on special teams. And so through 4 weeks of training camp, Drummond has shown to be more consistent and versatile receiver, while Green is playing all over on special teams. So that leaves Cota outside because we know this last wide receiver position, you're just not going to be out there a whole lot at wide receiver. We need you in special teams. We need you to be consistent and versatile. Green has been doing that. So, hey, Cota could make it. I'm just saying he looks all of a sudden like this slam dunk. He's going to be the guy, but I agree with Pride of Detroit. I think special teams is a big deal. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on that one. And Jeremy says the same thing as Eric. He says, look, Detroit didn't invest highly in any of these guys. And as for Cota, he's been slowly improving over the past couple of weeks beyond his preseason performance. That said, you nailed it. Drummond has been more consistent. Green is more trusted special teams player. So I think Cota gets the nod. Tight end, back to the 3. Perfect. Love it. Offensive line, same thing there. Taylor Decker. We know the top 6. They've called them the top 7. Like we know these 7. Graham Glasgow and Sortasol we drafted. We liked him, but Nelson's got to be a swing tackle, and so we're probably going to keep 9. Fine. Like we got a great offensive line. The rest, and look for us to draft and free agency in the coming seasons because we really haven't addressed the offensive line other than obviously drafting Panay, but the other guys have been here through the old regime. But it's time for us to kind of refresh this. Not yet, but next off season. Then if we look at interior defensive line, love it. Benito Jones is going to get the nod over Christian Covington. Fine, no problems there. Levi, man, if he could just keep working on it, get better. We need these 3 really to be a great rotational piece and some people that we can trust. We know these guys are playing well. Bugs looks good. But if we're going to make a real run at make some noise and really go win 10, 11, 12 games, these guys have really got to play well for us. So hopefully they can. As far as edge, man, look at the edge. So loaded at edge. And we've talked about it. Kaminsky, Pascal, those guys are more like hybrid stuff anyway, but their edge, put them on the edge. So Julian would be the one out. And that's just, he's a good player. I don't mind Julian, but at the end of the day, that's it. You just can't keep them all. And Julian would be the one to get out of there. Linebacker, Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell, Malcolm Rodriguez, Derrick Barnes, Jalen Reeves-Maybin. Man, that linebacker room has really changed from just a couple of years ago. Holy smokes. I mean, it was Anzalone and Jalen Reeves-Maybin a couple of years ago, and it was just like, yikes. Now, Derrick Barnes, I think is going to get the starting nod next to Anzalone. He's playing fast. He's playing physical. He looks sharp. And you got Malcolm and you got Jack coming in. I mean, this linebacker room, the room as a whole is just so much better. And you just feel so much better about linebackers, because linebackers, I mean, every level of the defense is important. It's got its own strengths and weaknesses and why you need them in the defense. We know that. But the linebacker position, it feels like if you can be strong there, what a great thing to have. And we just haven't been for the last 2 years. Combine that with a poor secondary and not a great, and honestly, not a great defensive line. Our defense has not been good for the last couple of years. We started to figure it out last year. I get it. But man, now linebacker room just looks so much better. I feel so much better about that. Cornerback position, no real surprises here. Chase Lucas just kind of keeps hanging around. Starling Thomas has been the surprise of camp. There's always one or two. Put Starling Thomas in that category. The guy is right out of the Jerry Jacobs mold. I love Starling Thomas. Safety, love it. Surprise here, if he's going to go, because we kept so many kind of nickelback corner guys. And Brian Branch is also like a safety. He can play it all. So to make room for all those guys, Savion Smith, Brady Breeze, some surprises, some guys that aren't, real shockers, but Iffy, a 3rd-round pick out of Syracuse, hasn't been able to stay healthy and make an impact. He will be gone. And then finally, when you look at special teams, it's going to be Riley Patterson, which is just funny to me because we traded him, or we released him, picked somebody else up, then traded him back. And I still don't get that one, but hey, whatever, we'll take it. So there it is. Pretty straightforward. Love it. Start looking at it. Defensive line, check. Linebackers, check. Secondary, love it. CJ Gardner-Johnson, Brian Branch. I mean, those two guys alone. Are you kidding me? CJ Mosley. CJ Gardner-Johnson, and then you got Mosley, but then you got what's his name from Pittsburgh. Offensive line, good. Running backs, much improved. Amon-Ra St. Brown alone in the wide receiver room. I mean, we have a top 5 wide receiver, and Amon-Ra St. Brown gets open, picks his spots, knows what to do. Just constantly gets open. You cannot put a price tag on 3rd and 5 at midfield, and you got Amon-Ra coming in motion, doing a little something, and he's open, first down. I mean, that is you can't scheme up enough stuff. You can't do it when you can just like go one-on-one. Is he going in? Is he going out? Boom. Teams are going to try to double him. All those things are going to try to happen this year, but then you got Jahmyr Gibbs coming out. I mean, there's so many things that Ben Johnson has to work with now. It's his second full season. I mean, a lot of good things from the Detroit Lions as a whole. Love where the roster stands going into the final preseason game, and then obviously into the season. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see all of you on the next one.